was there. I don't have to listen to it.
This week's show because it was a disaster.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
And I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and you're listening to Day Drinking on Delmarva, a podcast about life and culture on the Delmarva Peninsula. Todd drinks because he gets to live here. I drink because I have to live here. And it is election day in Delmar, and I've never had to live here more than I have to live here today. But unfortunately, I got a full afternoon, so I'm spending, I got a text from my daughter yesterday, and she said, I'm sitting in a bar in Bethany Beach, and I just looked around, and this is the room where you guys used to do the Toddcast.
Oh. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, so she recognized Bethany Blues, that back room where we used to record, I guess, is where they...
the upstairs barrel room, right?
Yeah, the barrel room. And I said, well, all of the bourbon drinks are excellent, I can assure you.
Right.
And I haven't thought
That's
about
fun.
them in a while. How are things over at Bethany Blues? Do you guys do much with them anymore? Or you see them ever?
Yeah. I mean, we're, same steady as she goes. They opened Bethany Blues downtown in downtown Rehoboth, just off the avenue, a year or two ago. And so we do stuff for them. In fact, it was fun. I was sitting at work the other day. I was working at work the other day at 410. And Bethany Blues makes a commercial. We make a commercial every year. It's usually see it around the football season, the local commercial. And we've talked about local commercials before and,
right.
Buying time from the local networks. But it is fun to look up and I'm like, oh, yeah, there's my work on the screen and all these people around here are watching it or, half paying attention because they're watching the World Cup or whatever. And
right.
I'm like, they have no idea that I made this, but it's fun. Yeah, but Bethany Blues is doing well. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. I haven't been doing as much day drinking as I wish I did, but I think I'm going to try to fix that in the near. I've been in a really weird place, and the election doesn't help. Just because it's so. I don't know how much did I tell you about being recruited to write garbage for the election? Any of that story?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but you get recruited to write garbage for a lot of things.
Yeah, so I was recruited by the all right, so I'm sorry we're going to go way off script, but this just came into my head and I've got to go with it. There's a movie called The Stand. Did you ever see The Stand when it came out? Is that a
Stephen King adaptation? Yeah.
Yes. All right, so this goes someplace, I promise. In the movie The Stand, there's this guy and his name's Harold, and he makes a deal with the devil and he betrays his friends and he murders some of them. And then lo and behold, he's driving along the highway and the devil pushes him off a cliff where he's forced to choose between starving to death with a broken leg and blowing his brains out. He chooses to blow his brains out. And he says in his note is just, I was misled. And so maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I get a call from these ex-Tea Party morons who want me to write what I normally write when I write about the Delmar Commission, because they're awful people who are greedy and liars, greedy liars. And I mean, I can call them liars. They have lied to me. They lie regularly. I'm not even pretending about the lying part, right? The greedy part, I don't know if they're stupid or greedy, because they could be both. They could be neither, but they're one or the other. I'm sorry, they can be both, but they can't be neither. They're one or the other. So anyway, they're like, you should get back to writing that stuff. And I had like a mini tantrum. I'm like, well, why are you calling me now? He's like, well, I just saw the story that you wrote. I'm like, I wrote the story 4 years ago. Where were you 4 years ago?
In the election cycle.
4 years ago, they weren't trying to do anything in my neighborhood. But then when they started to do something in my neighborhood, I looked up stuff bad about the other election. And so I'm talking to these guys, and one is the shrimp boat guy. You know the shrimp boat guy?
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know him personally, but I know the shrimp boat.
So, yeah, and he's there, and he's like, well, I own the shrimp boat, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I just remember you being older. And he's like, oh, well, that's my uncle. My uncle started the shrimp boat. And I'm like, okay, so we got idiot number one, whose uncle gave him a business, and idiot number two, who doesn't like what they're doing in his backyard, and now they want me to fix their problems, right?
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah, well, we were always, we're part of the Republican establishment, but they've gotten really crazy lately. And I'm like, yeah, starting in 1987 is when they went off the rails for me. In 2001, forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, and oh, well, no, we didn't know it was going to go this far. Yeah, you did. That's just like that guy who made a deal with the devil and is like, I can't believe he betrayed me. He's the devil.
I thought the story was going to end with you blowing your brains out.
Oh, no. It was just the vision. I had to watch that movie this week because I've been so furious about the
Yeah.
And I didn't remember if it was in the book or in the movie, and I had time to watch the movie. I didn't have time to read the book. It's like 500 pages.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's my thing. I'm tired of the I was misled crowd. And the closer we get to November, the louder they're going to get. Like, oh, we didn't know. Oh, we didn't know. You did. You didn't care because you thought it wasn't going to affect you, and now it is.
Right. So, it's the fuck around and find out.
Right.
And we're in the find out
We
phase.
are in the find out stage, especially here. I don't know if you're watching what's going on in Wicomico County, but like the two most conservative people in Wicomico County are at each other's throats: the sheriff and the person in charge, the county executive. I don't know their names. The sheriff is a man person. The county executive is a woman person. And the county executive apparently stole a scanner while the sheriff was away to give to one of her friends who does reporting so that they could report on all the awful things that were going on among the blacks in Wicomico County so that she could stay in power or whatever. Just awful, awful place to live. And they want me to write about all this for free.
Yeah.
Go to hell.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you pay grown-ups $20,000 a year to cover your politics. Yeah, this is what happens. Sorry for your troubles.
Yeah.
I've got a podcast to make for free where I can say whatever I want. So anyway, I'm sorry I had to get that off my chest. I just drove past all those signs on my way back from the gym, and I was in a good mood until then.
It is interesting because I've been driving back and forth to the other side of the bridge to see Dad, and previous to that to see Mom before she passed. But it is interesting to notice like the signs have changed. There had always been the Democrats are the devil, and God bless Trump, and as you're headed through the Eastern Shore, and you see a lot less of that. And then I think I know the sheriff that you're talking about because I'm like, oh, this guy's face is everywhere in Wicomico County, and something tells me that's probably not great.
Well, it's also, I think it's either the same name or maybe his brother's running in either Talbot or there's two Lewises running for sheriff. There's two Sheriff Lewises.
Oh, funny.
In these four counties. That's 50% of our sheriffs could be named Lewis. If you say, did Sheriff Lewis send you? You have a 50% chance of being right, no matter where you are on the Eastern Shore.
Also, I wish I had taken note and actually come up with a good joke. But a couple of the names, like around the Cambridge, I feel like it's around the Cambridge area. There are a couple signs where the names just sounded like a joke, and it was something like, vote for Joe. I'ma hold my gun. For sheriff. Like they're like these long names that sound made up and like are just close enough to being like some phrase that just doesn't make sense, or Susie. Yeah. Oh man. But interesting times we live in.
Yes. Interesting times. So I'm sorry to start off that way because we're going to go back to our social media therapy here. Return to social media therapy, and I got you addicted to a podcast by accident, but I don't care.
Well, it's great. So, what's her name? Rachel. I always want to say Rachel Carson because that's the elementary school that I went to, and of course the.
Did you really?
Yeah, went to a Rachel Carson elementary school. Rachel Carton has a Substack newsletter called Link in Bio, and she was on a podcast. And I listened to the podcast, and it was one of those things we've referenced it before. But she's saying all of the things that I'm thinking, right? And
except she's getting a fortune to do it.
She's getting a fortune to do it, and and of course, there is the fact that she worked for Bon Appetit, right? She worked for a major publication in the capacity of social media manager. It's interesting her history. Before it was a thing, she talks about she was hired to do social media and HR. And this kind of right? And this kind of leads
what we were
into
talking about last time we met.
Yeah, and we were talking about the last time we met about you can't just let the intern do it. You can't just let the hostess do it. And I think that like seeing that with clearer eyes, and some of the stuff that we've talked about with. The Starboard hiring some internal people to do social media is you look across the landscape and there's this trend of all businesses, and it's not just one trend, right? It's not just like, oh, here's this goofy dance or whatever, but it is the pervasiveness of referring to the social media manager as the social media girl, right? Now,
right.
This highly professional and well-written Rachel Carton, who worked for Bon Appetit, now does like consulting, and like she calls herself a social media manager, not a guru, not a swami or what, like
right,
all of these like sort of dismissive names around it, or mysterious. And it just occurred to me, if you're a business and you're still calling referencing the social media girl, you are diminishing what value you place in that role. And it is a huge role in marketing. And I'd say anymore, it is a huge percentage of all marketing in on the digital landscape. And to be like, oh, it's just a cute girl that's doing it, really kind of diminishes the what goes into the job and the importance of the job and the thought and all of the aspects that are associated with it.
Well, I think it's the difference, and we did talk about this, but I do want to hit it again. It's the difference between treating someone like a professional and not.
Yes.
If you think of the person who does your social media as someone who just happens to do it, if you're not, you may not have a professional. You may have your hostess doing it, or your front desk lady or whatever. And it just might be. So I have my own Substack. I don't know if I've mentioned it or not. And my Substack is growing pretty well. But it is growing well almost without any social media at all. What I realized was that I wasn't getting any readers from social media. Like that, they're not the only way to get people to read my stuff is to get them on my site. And social media is designed to keep them off my site. Putting my stuff on social media doesn't help me. It only helps Facebook or whatever.
Right.
But actually, having listened to the link in bio person, I've kind of developed a new approach that I've talked about before, but she really kind of solidified it, which is like building characters on, I'm sorry. So I'm like the main character in my kooky funeral story or whatever, but using social media as a way to develop followers just on social media for social media things.
Right.
Like I don't have any interest. I don't have any belief that they're going to come to my website. And so that's not what I put on social media now. What I put on social media is stuff for people who don't leave social media. And ideally, when that number gets to be significant, then I can also throw in the occasional sponsored message among my other things. So, you can sponsor the newsletter, or you can sponsor the podcast, or you can have one of several sponsored posts kind of during the week, or during just, one of these stand-up vertical videos where that's you pay for it and I do it, I don't know if it was that show or if it was a different show where they were talking about cutting the ad reads out. And that is, if you sponsor the podcast and you buy a live ad read, they cut those out and they put the live ad reads out because they're always, messing around or whatever. And so putting the live ad read out is a bonus that advertisers like, because it is another way of, they just pay for the one thing, but they get more out of it. People don't have to watch 20 minutes of me yammering before they get to the important message about who has the best orange crust in Ocean City. They can just cut out the part of me saying who has the best orange crush in Ocean City. And that'll be their ad, and they can share it, they can not share it. And because of the new nature of vertical videos and just of the Instagram thing in general, time doesn't matter anymore. You'll see stuff that they'll serve it, and if it doesn't get caught the first time, but it gets caught in 6 months, then they'll just start serving it up again in 6 months to see what works on that. And so that is an interesting approach that I hope to try in the as the summer continues.
The thing that I really loved, and I think she was quoting the social media manager of the MLB, which is not the social media girl, right? This is
right.
A professional who's been doing
that
it
is
for
a 6-figure job
for years and years. And they had said, we don't have a short attention span problem. We have a short consideration span. So there, you talk about the vertical video and that sort of thing. And you need a hook, but it's not because of attention. It's because there's so much stuff I'm going to consider watching this. And if it's something I'm interested in, I will stay through the 10-minute video as needed.
Yes, and it's so funny because I see them on YouTube, and now I'm always anti-commercial, but I always hit the skip button no matter what. But I've started to evaluate whether they're doing a good job at keeping me from the skip button.
Right. Right.
And so, for example, ads that keep what they're talking about a secret until after the skip button, I'm never going to find out. They're like, woo, I'll bet you want to know how this water hose works. No, I don't. I want this 15 seconds to be over so I can get to the video that I decided to watch already. So I don't like the, I don't know how effective those, if you stay on, then we'll see. That feels like you want to get paid for the ad.
Right. Yeah. And to which point you're like, fuck you, right?
Yeah,
immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah. As soon as the counter goes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you're like watching that.
But there are some times where they're in the middle of it, and if the conversation has already interested me, I'm like, if I cared, I might have stayed on for that. And I don't. But those are the ways I evaluate it, and that's the other part. Starting off strong, and I used to do those. I used to do those sentences of the day.
Yeah.
And there were people who wanted to watch the sentence of the day for the sentence of the day, but the majority, they're like, and this is the best sentence of the day so far. They're like, click. So I have to find some middle ground. I might do the best death sentence of the day.
Oh, best death sentence. That will perk some ears for sure. Well, and the other interesting thing is I've always, content has to be in certain buckets. You have to do a little education, a little entertainment, and And one of the things that they were saying is that it's really more about, there is an aspect that's building community, and that's that longer form stuff. And that's, people, and I see this with the Starboard, tremendously. Anytime Monty's face is on there, everybody shares it, everybody watches it, retention time is great, that sort of thing. But there's also the entertainment side of things. And we touched on it last time. It's like, who cares if 500,000 people from Bangladesh watch the video? Like, that doesn't do anything. But there is, like, little disheartening, because I can't stand that aspect of it, but it's just the nature of it. And, so you have to do that 30-second entertainment part. But there's still a strong, and I think that's the focus of so much. But there's still a strong avenue for the community building, which is really what we're here for. Any business, like you said, it's like, you're only helping Meta with views if you're putting short form content versions of your long form content on their platform. What you need are the advocates that are actually on your website and actually consuming your stuff.
The other thing that I heard recently that I think I'm going to start doing, just because I'm aggressive and I don't mind being a little bit of a jerk sometimes. I don't know how often you get podcast pitches. Do you get a lot of pitches? Because I get like 15 or 20 a day. I get a lot of them. I
don't. I get a lot of. I'm more get the pitches about helping me with my video editing, or yeah.
Well, I do the newsier stuff. So the other podcast is a news podcast. So they're like, oh, here's someone who knows about this, and they should be on your show because, and they're always out of left field. Yeah. Right. I'm going to start saying, sure, it is $750. Venmo me $750, and then you can talk about whatever you want for half an hour, and then I'll put it out as a sponsored post. Yeah, absolutely. So that's my new plan for world domination, even just to make them stop. Even just to show them, or at least to just show them what it's like. Hi, you work for free to promote my stuff. No, you pay me and you promote your own stuff. How about that? Oh, no, no, that's a bad idea, isn't it? Money and time out of your pocket instead of just time out of my pocket is a different thing. But maybe they'll say, yes, I'm going to enter this world and find out, like, how important is that message? Is that message important enough? Because I'm going to start at 5, and then for every 1,000 listeners I get, I'm going to go up another 1,000. So right now I'm under 1,000. I have like 500 subscribers, so it's 500. When it gets to 1,000, it's 1,000. When it gets to 2,000, that'll be 10,000. I'll talk to your idiot for $10,000 for 15 minutes. If you feel like that's viable. I mean,
it makes sense. And there's a correlation there between subscribers and
if you really think that you need to reach my audience, then you're going to have to pay me. Because I know what I want to show my audience, and I'll tell them the things that they need to know for free, because that's what I like to do. But if you want to reach them, you'll have to pay. That is that's the beginning and the end. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I almost did it a couple times, but I run out of I don't have a real plan, so it would be just an obnoxious thing. But I think I'm going to set up a Venmo plan or one of those. I think on Calendly you can charge for a half-hour video conference or whatever. So
there you go.
I think I might sign up for Calendly and charge them for half an hour at a time.
Why not, right?
Why not?
Put it out there, and you never know who's gonna take you up on that. It's kind of like, again, this girl, she's been doing it for less time, but than I have, but she has more, name recognition on where she's doing it. She's obviously way more talented. I'm not just saying that time equals, value, but I've been doing it a long time, and it is one of those things that if you value your time, you need to let people know that your time is valuable.
And to kind of connect this to the last show, I think when people show up on her porch and they're like, "Hi, tell me everything you know," she's like, "Okay, how I this is my consulting fee per half hour.
Yeah.
Book a half hour, I'll tell you everything I know for 30 minutes, and I
Right.
think that is, we're just friendly. I think that's the problem. We confuse friendliness with being suckers, I think, oftentimes.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Because we just spent the last 20 minutes saying, like, treat it like a profession. Treat it like a profession. Oh, no, I don't want you to pay me for it.
Yeah. 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 If we only listen to our own advice.
Yeah. So that's it. That's it. The free time is over. I mean, I'll talk to anybody who wants to call. And one of the things that I have been doing on the side is kind of people will call me and they'll be like, I have this idea for this for this funeral product. What do you think? And I'm happy to have those calls, and I don't mind talking to people about that because A, I think it might save the world from things that they don't need and save people from investing money they don't need to spend. And B, if it's a good idea, then I'll be on the ground floor and I can do the story when it comes out, so
Right.
Because everyone in my world, in the funeral world, they see that there's a big change coming and everyone's trying to guess what kind of change it's going to be.
Yeah.
And
But
I don't know.
Do you think that's across all industries and like just kind of a symptom of the certain or the uncertainty of AI economy and all of that?
I don't think so because I think what's different about funeral service is the number of baby boomers who are on their way out and the fact that they're starting to think about doing something more interesting than their parents did, you know? And so many of them are like, okay, well, cremate me, but what else can I do? And so that is capturing their imagination. I just did a couple interesting stories on death doulas, who are kind of on the rise, but death doulas don't really make very much money or any money. Sometimes it's just completely volunteer stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think my grandkids will. I don't think whoever buries my grandkids, whoever deals with my grandkids when they die of old age, will look very much like the way funeral directors look today. I think that the job funeral director will be unrecognizable really in like 10 years, not even maybe in my old age. I think the job is unrecognizable, and what the new job is going to be and how to make money from that new job is what people are talking about. Like, you can't wait until people are dying to get them as customers. People are starting to say, okay, well, how do I get to guys like me? How do I get to guys that are maybe 10 years older than me, people in like 65, and get them to start thinking in terms of, all right, well, I'm going to go into independent living, assisted living, hospice, funeral, and what's after. And so rather than being a funeral director at the end of that or an independent living person at the beginning of that, who can do all of those things? Who can put together a plan for taking you from your 60s through your family's grieving and make it look like one cohesive thing and have it built upon blocks? And so that's the answer. I don't know what the question is, but that's the answer.
Yeah. Well, the question is like, why are you so beholden to the funeral director at the worst time of your life, right? And like caskets are what caskets are, and like because you're not shopping for you're not building one with your dad, while you're still both strong and able, or you're like. With my mom passing, it's interesting, and my dad being a Methodist minister for so many years, and actually finding out or remember that he was in charge of the benefits for the annual conference in his area. So like he's dealt with death a lot, and then when it came time to deal with mom's passing, they left the funeral home out of it. You know, so like, how do you get your death certificate if you're sorry, if you're not going through somebody who does it every day and that sort of thing.
Well, and it's also in some places it's the law. You can only get a death certificate from a funeral director. But
Okay.
And the other thing is, funeral directors are really good at what they do. They're really bad. They're worse even than us at telling people what they do.
Yeah.
That's the main problem, because they deal with tragedy and loss every day. They also deal with brothers and sisters who don't talk to one another every day.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
also deal with, estranged stepchildren who hate each other every day.
Yeah.
And when you hate your step siblings or your regular siblings or your father, and your father wants to bury your mom this way, and you want to have your mom cremated and shot into space, like, someone needs to have not been put in that situation for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's where funeral directors are really, really, really good. If I can recommend a podcast I just put out, we talk about a changing law in Indiana that is a problem for funeral directors and for death doulas. And one of the things that we talk about is the funeral directors are the only counselors that also sell you high ticket items.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, what if you could only buy cars from your therapist?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you have a therapist. I don't happen to have a therapist, but let's pretend I have a therapist. And I really trust my therapist a lot. And then if I go to therapy tomorrow and they're like, okay, well, also next time you want to buy a car, you have to buy it through me.
Right.
And then 3 weeks later, and so what do you think of the color blue? I'm like, is that for the car or is that for my psyche? Do you know?
Yeah.
And the counselor didn't change, and their desire to be a counselor and to help people didn't change.
Right.
But now they also have to sell cars.
Yeah.
and they're like, all right, well, now that your soul is at peace and now that you understand how everything's going to happen, let's look at some shit you can buy. Like, it's a really hard transition to make.
Right.
And it's really hard to do it because you have to. You have a dead body you have to get rid of,
Yeah. Yeah.
And you feel like you're over a barrel, and they know you feel like you're over a barrel, and they try to make it easier, but there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Yeah.
Unless you plan in advance. And people don't want to plan in advance because they don't want to talk about death. But if they did, then they would trust their funeral director or whomever they put in charge of stuff, and then they would know, and their families would know.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's my funeral pitch for this.
Well,
week.
and maybe all funeral directors need to do is hire a social media girl to get the message out there.
I talk about that actually a lot, and actually I'll be doing social media from a funeral conference on Friday. If anybody wants to follow on Deathcare on Instagram, it's just on Deathcare, all one word. I'll be at the Maryland Funeral Directors Conference, which is going on all week in Ocean City. I'll be there Friday.
Oh, fun.
So,
and they cut loose, right? Didn't you say that they like, it's a very serious job when they get together, they like to cut loose a little bit?
Funeral directors are drinkers. I'm not going to.
I mean, I know I would be if I were.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Actually, and that's one of the things that it's like, make sure you're not drinking too much. That's one of the things you have to do with one of your other responsibilities as a funeral director, like
it's not smell like booze.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, today. I had this, 20-year-old mother and baby who were mangled by a tractor.
You're right.
Did you just go home and watch Jeopardy? No.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
God bless.
So there's that. That's fun stuff. Yeah. So I respect funeral directors so much, and I wish somebody was better at telling other people that they weren't monsters. But it's hard. And then sometimes they turn out to be monsters, and you're like, shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that will bring us. We really went on this time. That's what happens when we skip a week. But I got nothing else anyway. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, until next time, remember, at the beach.
It's happy hour whenever you say it is.